everyone, welcome back to Absolutely Marvel and DC. In today's video, we just want to thank you. Like, that's literally it. We noticed we crossed 20,000 subs at the beginning of December, but the schedule was super packed, so we were unable to do anything. So we thought it'd be kind of fun to just maybe explain for the 80th time where we started with Absolutely Marvel and DC, how we're at here, and what's going to happen going forward. And we also need to give a fond farewell to one of our co-hosts, sadly. He's moving on to another job before anyone assumes anything drastic happened to him. This may be the place to explain that that's happening, Sal. So,
sure, yeah, okay.
But first off, we crossed 20,000 subscribers at Absolutely Marvel and DC. Yeah. As I've said since the beginning, I run Comicstorian, Sal runs Comic Pop and like 8 other channels. I run Comicstorian and 8 other channels. And we've always done that podcast, Absolute Comics, as a fun little side thing. And we thought it'd be cool to do a side channel where we could talk about all the movie news, the TV show news, and kind of whatever broad topics we wanted to talk about that don't really fit into our current podcasting format.
Yeah.
And that led to Absolutely Marvel and DC, which eventually led to us bringing in Dan, bringing in Husted, and bringing in Dylan.
Yeah.
And now we crossed 20,000 subs. You guys are incredible. So you want to say your thank yous? I'm just going to ramble for 9 minutes.
No, it's true. There's a lot of people to thank for reaching 20,000 subs. It's not a easy achievement in today's YouTube landscape to reach 20,000 subscribers, to hit this kind of milestone, and to have an audience that is dedicated enough to watch us on a practically daily basis for at least the last year. Year
and a half we've been going. I think we started... I think it was officially like May 202021. I think that's when we got our schedule going and we were doing things.
No. And the audience has been incredible. You guys have been really inspiring, and we really appreciate what you've done. And we wouldn't be here if it weren't for the efforts of the people who work on this channel and make it possible. Obviously, I want to thank Benny for doing it, and Husted, Dylan, Dan for their hard work and making this channel into what it is today, and caring enough to like put any effort into it. You know what I mean? Like just taking the time, thumbnails, editing, showing up, hosting, like refining one's hosting craft. Because it's like when we started, you could see like even though Benny and I are like veterans of this over the past like 8 to 9 years of YouTube, you can watch us actually get better at making this show.
Yeah.
I mean, goes.
One of my worst habits, and I it's funny because I'll actually tell this story, Sal.
Yeah.
One of my worst habits in all of these years of doing podcasts is interrupting and then derailing the conversation in an off direction. And I think I've gotten better about not just flat out interrupting and then derailing. I'll interrupt still and interject, but end it. But like, and then I'll move on, or I'll bring us back to the topic we are on hand. And that is an issue I've had since we started doing podcasts, and I've been consciously working on it more so with AMD because Sal has gotten to know me. He knows how I flow, and so he knows what's going to happen. He knows how to. But with like Husted, Dylan, and Dan, they weren't as good about it. So funny. I finally learned where that habit came from, Sal. Yeah. My parents were visiting.
Yeah.
And my mom would like try to get into conversations. And I'm not saying this in a negative way or anything like that. But like people we would have in a conversation at like some of our Christmas gatherings, she would kind of interject and then tell a full story. And I noticed it a lot more because I'm so conscious of it now.
Yeah. No, it's true. And I've done the same thing where I'm trying more to like let people talk, because if not, I will fill the space. Yeah. And that's all due to this channel, and it's due to the efforts of our incredible and intrepid like colleagues and hosts. I've just been like, these guys are smart and they're fun, and I want them to be heard. And well, I want to thank individually and let you guys know what everyone individually has done on these channels and like what they've been a part of. So Dan has been around on the Comicstorian side for a very long time. He's our producer. He handles all the podcast topics. He handles like basically making sure people show up. If I can't handle things, he goes in and takes care of it. He does a lot of the nitty-gritty work that Benny doesn't want to do. He's the backup editor. He's the backup co-host. He's the backup thumbnail guy. He's the backup Comicstorian is basically what he records audios of Comicstorian sometimes, Sal. That's true. no, he's a workhorse, and he's been doing a hell of a thing.
Yeah. And Dylan, and I'll explain where he's moving on to it after this, but I want to thank Dylan because Dylan helped us get this started. When we started doing this, we weren't sure how much time I would have, Sal would have, or Dan would have. So when we started this, Dylan came up with the workflow. Hey, we're going to go over to StreamYard. Hey, we're going to use our recording software. Hey, he created our thumbnail style. He created the editing style, everything. It was all created by Dylan back in 2021 as just a fun side project here.
Right.
Now, sadly, with the economic downturn coming through, there had to be some pay cuts that went through the overall company, which hit the ancillary channels a lot harder than the Comicstorian channel. So Dylan has had to go on and get another job. We're not leaving on bad terms. His schedule just doesn't reflect an availability to work on this channel anymore. But he's always welcome back, and you guys aren't going to stop seeing them. You're just going to see him much more infrequently, basically, while he works his other job. But we wanted to make sure he got us to this 20K. This channel kicked off because Dylan wanted to do this stuff. And he's another one I've seen just grow as a host and his ability and open-mindedness to be able to talk about things. So
yeah, that's very true. No, Dylan's been doing has done a great job, and his contributions are. You can point at them. You can be like, these are the things that Dylan did and contributed to. And while we're not going to be going forward full time with Dylan, it's due to his efforts that this channel is able to go forward at all.
I don't know if this channel would even exist beyond you and I just doing one bonus video a week on top of our podcast.
That's true. Yeah, it would not have expanded. I think because it would have just been like, okay, well, we show up, we do this thing. Would have been a side project for Dylan. It would have been a side project for us, and instead it's become this interesting experiment that has progressed to a place of actual import. Like people come to us for news and information and commentary, and it's like, wow.
And thank you guys so much for it. I never thought we'd reach that point that people I'm waiting for their response to something.
Yes.
And I enjoy that. And that's actually, before I move on to the next thing, I just want to say also thank you to Husted. Husted was brought in initially kind of to help fill gaps on shows that you guys wanted us to cover that none of us wanted to do, like Young Justice. And I think one of his first shows was Flash. No one wanted to talk about the Flash anymore. And so Husted was like, I got Flash. I'll take Flash.
Yeah.
But it was a fun addition. And he's also taught us quite a bit about TikTok and shorts and things like that. Sometimes his knowledge is good. Sometimes we just yell at him. But
no, Huston is a character that I'm thrilled to have gotten to know in any way, because I didn't know him before all this came together. You introduced us and brought him into this whole thing, and I was like, all right, new guy, seems cool. Yep. And we've talked off mic and on multiple shows. Our love of Stranger Things has contributed to this channel's content, and that's been fantastic. Yeah, he's awesome. And a welcome addition to this channel, just like anybody that we've had on this channel.
Yeah. So it's funny because this channel has just grown to a point where, when we started doing all these things, I still would be like, they're like, oh, what do you do on YouTube? I'm like, I do Comicstorian and I do occasional podcasting, but this has become a part of our Comicstorian brand portfolio. It's just not a success level of Comicstorian, but I'm perfectly happy with the success we have acquired over here. Because I have more fun doing this than many of our other projects at this point, Sal. Just getting together, chit-chatting, getting opinions, ranting and raving about everything going on.
Yeah. No, it's true. This has become its own thing, and it's not unexpected. I don't want to say that I didn't expect this. We just kind of made this into a thing. No, it's actually a nice testament to the fact that Benny and I kind of know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Benny was like, if we do Benny came to me and was like, if we do these things, it could be this. And I'm like, that's true. So we did. I didn't do it where I was like, I bet you will never succeed. It was just if we try these things, we get the right people, this could be a thing. And it is. Yeah. So, and while it's not the biggest thing in the world, I think a lesson for anybody who's aspiring to do YouTube or people who like this kind of thing would learn from this is that it doesn't have to be the biggest thing for it to be a success.
No,
for it to bring you and for it to bring you joy.
I mean, while I'm not going to go into the actual revenue that this channel earns at this point,
right?
It is earning enough that everyone gets a nice little extra check. And so, like I said, and it was paying Dylan's wages, but with the downturn, like I said, we had to cut a lot of the ancillary projects. The staff on all the
we're
extra
celebrating our success, and it's we had to let somebody go. But it's it's a bittersweet kind of thing where this is the nature of working online and making YouTube videos.
Yes, I tell everyone when it comes to workforce, this is not typically a job that you go 20 years and retire on.
Yeah.
Like typically you stick it out for about 5 years and you go do something else. And that's kind of like where we're at with quite a few projects. But anyway, I do want to say what's going forward though. One thing that we've had a lot of fun doing recently is we're covering the trailers still, but a lot of you have noticed we've covered less individual TV shows. The reason is honestly, it became kind of a chore to watch them and then meet up and talk about them. Either the show didn't have a lot to talk about for that individual episode, so it made more sense to get like 3 of them.
Yep.
Or we just didn't have the time. Like I work on Comicstorian. Comicstorian's got 2 spin-offs, shorts and full story. We've got AMD that I work on, but I also work on Tales of the Mind. I work on Mangastorian. I work on Dungeons and Ale. I've been trying to make a gaming channel work for 8 gajillion years and 900 attempts.
Yep.
And Sal works at Comic Pop Returns, and you're a co-host on like 8 other shows.
I am, yeah. It's like one other show. But yes, I am a co-host on other shows. I mean, like I stretch myself thin and I work on I like this job and I like this job and I want to keep it. That's the thing. Is like I know that if we leave your eyelids, like you know what I mean? Like if we leave your eyeballs, we disappear and you'll never think about us again. And it's harder to like climb back up the mountain than it is to just like hold your place on the mountain, catch your breath, and then keep climbing.
Yeah.
So
moving forward, though, we are gonna still do shows. We're kind of waiting but we're probably gonna see more shows that we enjoy versus shows that we're just watching to shit on it. We got to the end of the CW run, and Husted came in to do that stuff, and even Husted was like, "Oh my god, I don't want to watch this anymore. It's just so bad."
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. You're gonna lead to burnout faster if you're only watching things you don't like.
Right, and we don't want to make that. The whole point of this channel is to have fun with it. And so, like, Batwatch kind of turned into a little bit of a chore because we ran out of movies. It was easy and fun when we were just like, all right, next movie. All right, next movie. And now it's like, all right, what episodes of the animated series do you want to watch? And
yeah, which we did like watching, but like to what end? Like who is benefiting? Does the audience really even care? Like what if we could be spending time doing things that people really, really want to see or stretching ourselves to come up with what the audience might want next, as opposed to just like holding our place in line.
So I think Batwatch is going to evolve into another movie franchise that we're going to kind of go through, be it the MCU or maybe Superman or something like that. And we'll have a discussion off the air about that, what Sal would like to watch, because he's also got a lot tighter time than I do.
True.
But the other thing that you may have noticed, we've done a lot more broad topics, which is basically along the lines of I see something trending on Twitter or whatever, and then we open that up into like a big discussion about something. And those I have a lot of fun with, Sal.
Absolutely. No, those are the most fun to make because it challenges your brain and it makes you come up with ideas and thoughts. It's not just reacting, it's also interacting. And that's something that's so valuable and fun to do. It's where I got my start on YouTube in the first place, and it is where our bread is buttered, so to speak.
So moving forward, sadly, we'll see far less Dylan, but he's always welcome back. But we will be bringing more broad topics. We're going to come up with a new movie watch series. And we'll probably start watching some of the shows. They'll just be a lot more infrequent. But we're going to do what we love to do because we love doing this. Yeah. I don't think we ever want to get to a point where AMD is like, I have to show up. Like the only issue I have with AMD at this moment is just the timetable we have set for it. It's just awkward time in my day where I end up sitting around for like 30 minutes like, all right, where is everyone? I just want to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else you want to cover, Sal? About this 20K thank you? And channel update and information and
right? Yeah, I think we're good. I think the only thing that I want to encourage people to do is remind us what you want and let us know when we're giving you what you'd like. If this is the kind of thing you enjoy, not this particularly, these thank you videos are fun, but like I don't want to make one every week. Let us know in the comments. Always, if you are like, how do I support you more directly? The best way to do it, if you were like, I don't have any money, I don't want to do that, just like the video. Give us a like, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so you know when the videos are coming out. Yeah. So you can be here when the videos are the freshest. So that way we can be part of the ongoing conversation and incorporate it into the algorithm so that like things continue to progress as opposed to just like stagnate. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Someone asked about another project we have that we didn't technically quit. Nope ran into a problem. So here's the official update on Nope. I did season 1. I planned season 1. Season 1 went great. And the idea for season 2 was going to be all alien stuff.
Yeah.
And the issue I ran into with the alien stuff is all of, like, for my research to prep for the topics without going super deep, I get generic topics and I kind of write a few bullet points and then I move on to the next one. And that's like the show notes.
Right.
And then normally about 30 minutes before the show, I flesh out my notes to see, okay, what do we have? What can we talk about? The reason I do that is with my ADD, that's best for me. It's freshest in my mind. I can talk about it. I don't forget notes. The issue we ran into, if you were watching season 2 of Nope, all of the answers turned into the same thing.
Right.
Cell phone, old information, people back in the papers. And it just wasn't as much fun because we weren't, like, I thought a season of Aliens was going to be fun.
Yeah.
But it was just a season of, like, Dan and Sal just being like,
it's the same thing. It's always the same thing.
Always the same thing.
Yeah. And I'd rather we just drop it than, like, try to limp a show forward. You know what I mean?
So there might become there. I have to sit down and do it now that we're in the new year. There might end up being a season 3 if I could find enough topics that are not alien related, but more stuff that is just what the hell.
Yeah.
But I need to come up with 10 solid topics for there to be a season 3. If I do, we'll have that show. If I can't come up with 10 solid topics, there won't be a show. If you want to go to our Discord, you can always submit ideas, and I'll start compiling ones. Because obviously there's more stuff out there. I just need to... It's hard to find that stuff, so what that boils down to. It's not easy to find stuff that we can just discuss.
Well, and it's not like that... That is an element of what we do. It's not the thing we do, so it's harder to dedicate that much more time. Like, you know, if this was a show about that kind of thing, if this was a channel dedicated to that, obviously... that kind of information would just roll in. You'd have it on hand, or you'd spend more time looking for it. We'd all spend more time.
But we don't have a Nope community on our Discord. We don't have people
so it's
looking
just like,
for conspiracies and stuff trying to help us out. So
no. So it's just like whatever comes our way, we'll cover it if we can. But I think the majority of the audience wants us for the pop culture comic stuff anyway. So, and we're more than happy to provide that.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll be doing that. We'll see. Maybe we can bring it back. It was a lot of fun, but I also want it to stay fun, not become a show we're forcing out.
Precisely. And we're not like hurting for shows, so it's not like if that runs its course, it's not like we're like, oh no, we've run out of things to talk about.
Yeah. I guess the last thing is if you're watching this at the week that it comes out, we will be a little sporadic with videos for the next 2 weeks as the team eases back into our work schedules. Mm-hmm. We've been gone for like 3 weeks now because of the holidays, and we need to adjust the workflow to not have Dylan as the editor. So we're going to be adjusting to have Dan take over. Maybe we might be looking for someone who wants to work chief to do it also. I don't know. But we got to figure all that out. So there might be a little sporadic for the next 2 weeks, but AFD is not going anywhere. Trust me. We're definitely going to keep this going. And right now we're just waiting for James Gunn to announce this roadmap for the DCU that's coming out this month.
Yeah, and then there'll be like probably a million videos about that. Like, well, each movie has to get its own video. Then the whole thing has to get a video. And,
right.
You know. So yeah. Come on, Gunn, let's go. But,
all right, guys. Thank you so much for your continued support. We really do appreciate it, and thank you for the 20,000. And let's hit 30,000. Let's keep going, Sal.
Right? Why not? I'm game if you are. So let's.
You know what? No, I'm done. 20 was my goal.
Thanks for watching, I guess.
We'll see you guys next time.